Join Kids Hut family.
Tia, aren't you going to your friend's party?
No, Tofu. Mummy has asked me to stay home with you tonight because she and Papa will be returning home late.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Tia. Because of me, you can't go to your party.
It's okay, Tofu. Sometimes we have to sacrifice things for the ones we love. Just like the Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid. Is it a story? Tell me, Tia, please.
The Little Mermaid. Once upon a time, there was a sea kingdom at the bottom of the sea. The king of the seas had 6 beautiful daughters who were mermaids. They were all very beautiful, but the youngest of them was the prettiest of them all. She had a gentle face, big round eyes, and a voice sweeter than anyone else's in the world. When the Little Mermaid turned 15 years old, her grandmother called her to her room. "Come, my darling. Today you have turned 15. And from now onwards, you can go to the world above. Just remember, the people above are very different from us. They do not have a beautiful fishtail like us. Instead, they have 2 legs.
Thank you, Grandmother. I have waited for this day for so long. When I return, I will tell you about everything I see above.
That night, the Little Mermaid went to the surface of the water. The sight of the stars and the cool breeze that touched her face took her breath away. She was just getting used to the feeling when she saw a big ship cross in front of her. Aboard it were many men, and they were celebrating the birthday of the young prince who had just turned 16. The Little Mermaid was mesmerized with the handsome looks of the prince. She couldn't take her eyes off him as the ship sailed past her. She was so lost in him that she did not notice the storm build up in the sky and the sea begin to rage. The ship had only sailed a little further when the storm shook it up. The sailors tried to stir it to safety, but many men, including the prince, fell into the sea. The Little Mermaid rushed to him and saved him from drowning. She took him ashore.
Don't worry, you are safe. Open your eyes.
But the prince lay unconscious. The mermaid decided to get help. When she couldn't get any, she came back to where the prince was. She saw him surrounded by many people. A beautiful princess was kneeling by him as others worked to awaken him. The prince opened his eyes, and the little mermaid was relieved that her prince will be saved now.
You saved my life. Thank you.
The prince knew nothing about the little mermaid. He didn't even know that it was she who had actually saved his life. This broke the mermaid's heart. She went back to her father's home. She told her sisters and grandmother what had happened.
Forget him, child. Humans and we are very different. To be with him forever, you will have to get him to love you more than anything else he loves in the world, even more than his own parents. How will that ever happen? Think about it.
But the little mermaid could not forget the handsome prince. Every night she visited the spot where she had laid him after saving his life. One day, she decided to visit the witch in her father's kingdom. Maybe she knew a way that the mermaid could be with the prince.
Yes, there is a way. I can send you to the land above the sea. You will lose your fishtail and have legs. If by the second sunset you can get the prince to love you more than he loves his parents, then you can be with him forever. Otherwise, you will die and become foam in the sea. But in return, you must give me your voice.
But without my voice, how will I make the prince fall in love with me?
You still have your pretty face and eyes. You will also be the most beautiful dancer anyone has ever seen. Now go.
In a flash, the mermaid found herself on the land. Her fishtail turned into human legs. It caused her pain, but she could not even scream because the witch had taken her voice away. Somehow, the mermaid made her way to the prince's castle. There was a big celebration going on there, but the guards would not let the mermaid enter because they didn't know who she was, and she couldn't answer them when they asked her about it. So she was not allowed to enter. Somewhere in the castle, music started playing. Remembering what the witch had said about dancing, Little Mermaid started dancing.
Oh, I have never seen anyone dance so beautifully. Maybe she has come to dance for the royal family in the celebrations. Oh, she is a dancer. Let me take her to the court.
Once the mermaid reached the royal court, she saw that the celebration was for the wedding of the prince. Little Mermaid was heartbroken. She thought the only way of meeting the prince now would be to dance and draw his attention towards her. And so she performed a beautiful dance for the royal family. When the prince saw her, he came up to her.
Hello, young lady. I have seen you in my dreams. Who are you?
In his heart, the prince hoped that she would be the one who had saved him from drowning. He longed to hear the voice that had saved him when he was dying. But no sound came out when the little mermaid tried to reply.
Forgive me. I think I'm confused between you and someone else. But please do join us.
The prince led her to the ship on which the wedding was going to take place. Many people spoke to her, but she could not answer anyone. The princess was especially kind to her and took special care of her.
I know you saved the prince that day. Thank you. Because of you, I have found the love of my life. Please always stay with us.
The little mermaid saw that the princess and the prince loved each other and were very happy together. She decided not to pursue the prince anymore. He belonged to another woman. Although her heart ached to let him go, she happily attended the wedding and all the celebrations that went on throughout the next day. Soon it was evening. The second sunset was about to happen. The little mermaid knew she would die and become foam on the sea. As she stood there, looking at the prince and his princess, she heard some voices behind her. She turned around to see. Her sisters were there in the water. But all of them had very short hair now, instead of the long flowing locks they used to have earlier.
Sisters, what are you doing here?
We have come to save you. We went to the witch. In exchange of our hair, she gave us this knife. If you stab the prince through his heart before sunset, you can be saved. Handing the knife to the youngest sister, all the other sisters vanished under the water once again. The little mermaid stood there holding the knife to her heart. She looked at the newlyweds once again. She knew what she had to do. At the sunset, she tossed the knife into the sea.
Goodbye, my love.
And so, for the happiness of her beloved prince, the little mermaid sacrificed her own life and joined the sea as foam.
Tia, this is such a beautiful story. It shows how much the little mermaid loved the prince. Thank thank you for not going to the party and staying with me.
That's because I love you, my little brother.
I love you too, my darling sister Tia.
Tofu, can you take the floor, please? I will climb up the ladder and do the shells at the top.
Why do I have to do the floor?
Because the shells are higher and tougher to clean.
You are just saying that because you don't want to do the floors.
Oh boy, Tofu, it's not that. You won't be able to reach the shelves, trust me.
Sure, I will be.
Okay, come on up then. But let me tell you, you're being like the crab.
Like the crab? Now what's that?
Come, I'll tell you a story. Once upon a time, there lived a crab in the sea.
I am so bored of living in the sea. I think the meadow behind the beach is a better place for me to be. I will move there.
And so, the crab came out of the water and made its way beyond the beach and into the meadow.
Ah, this is the life. I wonder why I didn't do this earlier.
Unknown to the crab, a fox had been watching him since the moment he came into the meadow. And one day, when he found the right moment, he attacked him.
I have been waiting for this moment. I will eat you now.
The crab tried to hide, but it didn't know how to. Not on land anyway. He was not familiar with the terrain at all.
It's my fault. I should have stayed in the seas and the beach where I belong and know how to protect myself.
Well, yes, but now it's too late for you.
Saying so, the fox quickly ate the crab and ended his life. Do you still think you can handle the tall shelves?
I think I will wait till next year to find out. For now, I will just take care of the floors. Tia, yesterday in our class, my friend Ben forgot to bring one of his textbook, and Ted offered to share his textbook with him. Ben promised Ted to help him in learning football after school. But after school, when Ted asked Ben to help as promised, instead of helping, Ben left for his home.
That's bad. One should always stand by their promises.
But Tia, Today again Ben forgot his textbook, and when he asked Ted to help, Ted refused.
Tofu. We should be sensitive towards every human being. You know, we should always help people around. Come, I'll tell you a story. Once upon a time, there lived a beautiful princess in the kingdom of a very humble king. The princess was so pampered by her father that she turned out to be a little proud of the fact that she is a princess. Many a times the king asked her to be more humble towards the people around her, because that's the way a princess should be.
I know, my little princess, that you are my pampered child. But you should be little more empathetic towards other people. Everybody is same. It's just that some are fortunate, some are not.
But the princess just ignored what her father had to say and went out to play with the golden ball that her father had gifted her on her birthday. She loved the ball, but no sooner had she started playing that her ball bounced and went into a pond.
Oh God, my favorite golden ball! I would give anything to get back my favorite ball. Anything!
Hearing the princess cry out loudly, a frog leaped up and sat on a lotus leaf and said,
Princess, I just saw what happened. I will get the golden ball back for you. But you have to promise me something.
How in the world did the slimy frog talk? The princess only wanted her ball back, so she hurriedly said yes.
What is it that you want in return?
I want you to take me back to your palace and pamper me. I would eat with you, play with you, and sleep in bed with you.
The princess was horrified at the very idea and had no intention of doing any such thing. She agreed to the condition as she thought the frog would not be able to reach the palace on his own, and she had no intention of taking him along with her. She told him to hurry and get the ball back and waited with bated breath for her golden ball. The frog jumped into the pond and in no time at all came back with the golden ball. She took the ball from him and ran back to her palace as fast as she could.
Princess, come back! You promised to take me with you. You can't break your promise.
But the princess ignored to his calling and ran as fast as she could. She was relieved when she reached her room and soon forgot all about the frog. At night, while she was having dinner with her father, there was a loud knock on the door.
Open the door, oh princess! It's me, the frog from the pond. You promised to keep me with you. Being a true princess, you should keep up to your promise now.
Who is that? And what does he want?
The princess, being a little scared of her father, told him about the afternoon incidents.
now she broke her promise. You are a true princess, my love, and you should keep up to your promise, no matter what.
Feeling helpless, the princess opened the door and let the frog enter. He hopped on to the seat next to her and asked her to let him eat from her plate. The frog ate till his tummy was full. But the princess couldn't eat a single bite, thinking about the slimy frog eating from her plate. Then the frog asked her to carry him to her bedroom and let him sleep in her bed. Unwillingly, she picked him up in her hands and went upstairs. The frog jumped on her bed and snuggled cozily in her huge soft bed. The next morning, the princess got up to find the frog missing from her bed. Happily, she hopped from her bed, thinking that the ordeal was over. But as the night fell, the knock again happened. And again the frog ate from her plate and slept in her bed. Feeling sad about sharing her food and bed, she went to her father and asked him if she could stop now. The king again told her that a promise was a promise and cannot be broken. It was the third night when the frog came in again to eat and sleep in her bed. But the next morning, the princess was astonished to see that the frog was not in her bed. And a handsome young prince was standing next to her bed.
What? Who are you? Where is the slimy frog?
Dear princess, it's me, the frog. A witch cast a spell on me that could be broken only if a princess would let me eat in her plate and sleep in her bed for 3 nights. You broke that spell by keeping your promise, and here I am, standing in front of you. I am the prince from the neighboring country.
Would you like to be my wife? Not able to resist the handsome prince, she said yes, but had something more to say.
Oh, prince, I would love to be your wife. But how would you forgive me for being so rude to you?
She was guilty like hell, but the prince was a humble man. He said,
Oh, my dear princess, I can understand your reasons and I am ready to forgive you. But you have to promise me that in future you won't judge anybody by the way one looks or the job one does. Everyone is equal, and that's how they should be treated, equally.
Saying this, the prince took her in his arms and decided to take her to his kingdom, where they lived happily ever after.
Oh dear, you are right. We should always keep our promises and help people in need. Thanks for the lovely moral story.
Come, Tofu, let's go and play some games now.
These cookies are so yum. I can eat them forever.
Tofu, have you ever imagined what if these cookies become alive?
Alive?
This reminds me of a story. The Gingerbread Man. Long ago, there lived an old couple. One day, the old woman cooked a gingerbread cookie in the shape of a man. As soon as the gingerbread man was cooked, he jumped out of the tin and ran out of the open window, shouting,
Don't eat me.
He ran away as fast as he could. The old couple tried to chase the gingerbread man, but he was too fast for them. Soon, a hungry pig saw the gingerbread man and said,
Stop! I would like to eat you.
He too joined the chase. The gingerbread man was too fast and said,
You can't catch me. I am the gingerbread man.
A little further, a hungry cow saw the gingerbread man and said,
Stop. I would like to eat you.
She too joined the chase.
You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
Next, he met a horse. The horse too joined the chase. Finally, the gingerbread man came to a river and stopped, as the river could make him soggy. A clever fox came by and wanted to eat him up. But he pretended to be nice and offered help to the gingerbread man. He asked the gingerbread man to climb on his head so that he could take him across the river. The gingerbread man was so scared of water that he agreed. As soon as they reached the other side, the fox tossed up the gingerbread man in the air. He opened his mouth and ate him up. That was the end of the gingerbread man.
I don't want my cookies alive and get eaten by a wolf.
Ha 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 ha! Enjoy your cookies, Tofu.
Animals have such an easy life, dear. No school, no rules, no homework. What do they have to worry about?
Everybody has their troubles, Tofu. Let me tell you the story of Thumbelina. Once upon a time, a woman lived by herself in a faraway village. She was very lonely after her husband had died. She always wanted to have a child, But alas, she didn't have any. One day, she went to her friend who was a witch. The witch gave her a grain of barley and told her to go back home and plant it. The woman did as she was told. The next morning, a beautiful plant had grown from the seed. It had a lovely flower that looked like a tulip. The woman had never seen a flower like that and was mesmerized by its beauty. She gently kissed one of its petals. As she did that, the flower blossomed open. Inside it was a beautiful little girl, no bigger than the size of the woman's thumb. The woman instantly fell in love with her and called her Thumbelina. Thumbelina took away the woman's loneliness. In the day, she would tell her stories and talk to her. Sometimes she would make Thumbelina a boat out of a tulip petal which she could row in a plate full of water. At night, Thumbelina would sleep in a bed out of a walnut shell with a blanket made of a rose petal. One night, as she was sleeping, a frog came to her window and saw her. He thought to himself, "What a beautiful girl! She will make a lovely bride for my son." And so he grabbed Thumbelina and hopped away to his home. When his son saw his bride-to-be, he was very happy. "She is beautiful, father. I will marry her. But before that, I want to build her a beautiful house."
Okay, son. I will put her on the water lily in the middle of the pond till then. This way she will not be able to escape.
And so the frog put Thumbelina in the middle of the pond on a water lily leaf. Thumbelina tried to escape from her new home, but when she couldn't, she broke down crying. Two minnows were sitting under the same leaf and they heard her cry. They asked her about her troubles, and when she told them, they decided to help her. They nibbled away the lily stem. Soon it broke and floated away with Thumbelina. Just when Thumbelina thought she was free, a beetle came down and took her away to his home. He called over his friends to introduce them to his pretty prisoner. But the beetle's friends told him that she was too different than them and she didn't belong with them.
I agree. I think I should let her go.
And so he dropped her in the long grass and flower. Thumbelina was very happy that she was free from her captors. However, she still did not know where her home was. She spent many days in the grass and between the flowers. She would eat the pollen of the flowers and drink the dew from the leaves. One day, as she was walking, she stumbled upon a small house made of mud. It had a strange round entrance. She went up to it and knocked on the door. A mouse opened the door.
Oh, hello there. Isn't it cold out there for you today? Come in, please.
Thank you so much. Once Thumbelina was settled comfortably in the mouse's house, he asked her about who she was. Thumbelina told him her entire story.
Do not worry. You can stay here as long as you like.
So Thumbelina started staying in her newfound home. To make herself useful in the house, she would cook for the mouse and tell him stories. After a few days, the mouse said he had invited a guest over.
He is the richest mouse in all the land. He is a very good friend of mine.
That night, the mouse's friend came over for dinner. They all talked and had a very good time. During the course of dinner, the friend fell in love with Thumbelina and declared that he would marry her. Thumbelina had no choice but to go along with what was happening. When the friend offered to show her his home, she agreed to visit his house. And the three of them set off together. On the way, they entered a tunnel. There they found an injured swallow lying on the ground. The mouse's friend kicked it and rudely said,
Serves her right. What is she doing in the tunnels? He should have stayed in the air.
Thumbelina was shocked to see that someone could treat another like this. Unseen by the mice, she ran away from there. Once she was sure that the mice had left, she came back and attended to the swallow. She took great care of her. Till she was fit to fly again. It became spring by the time the swallow could fly again. She told Thumbelina,
I have to join my family and friends. They have flown away to a warmer place. I cannot stay here. Come with me.
but Thumbelina had had enough adventure and did not want to go anywhere else, and so the swallow flew away. A few months had passed when the love-struck friend of the mouse found Thumbelina again.
Oh, my beloved, I have been looking for you everywhere. Now I have found you and must marry you.
Thumbelina knew there was no way out of it for her, so she asked him if she could spend one last day out in the open air before she was confined to living the rest of her life underground with him. As she roamed in the open fields for one last time, she heard a familiar voice.
Come away with me, where your spirit will always be free.
Thumbelina saw her old friend who had returned for her. This time around, she agreed and hopped on the back of the swallow, and they took off. They flew over land and water and fields of green. When they reached the land of the flowers, the swallow landed Thumbelina on a beautiful flower petal.
This is the kingdom of the flowers, and that is their king.
Thumbelina saw a handsome young king with beautiful wings. He was surrounded by lovely flowers. As soon as she saw him, she knew she wanted to call this place home. Her presence attracted the king's attention. He too fell in love with her immediately. "Will you marry me?"
Yes,
As happiness spread across her face, she grew a beautiful pair of wings and became the flower queen.
oh wow, Tia. I don't know what I would do if I would land in such a strange world. I think I am happy where I am.
For your favorite rhymes, stories, and more, join Kids Hut family. Subscribe here.